Hey guys, welcome to the Harbchon guide for Rift patch 2.5. So what's Harbchon? Harbchon is a mix between Harbinger and Archon, so you're a support. Your primary role is to buff your party or raid. The difference between this spec and the more standard 51 Archon or even Pyrochon is the amount of personal DPS it's able to pull. You probably won't be using this much in your raids, in your 20-man raids, because it simply doesn't have the extra lava field Pyrochon does, or even the extra aura. So most guild would choose to go with Pyrochon since it's the bigger gain of them all. That said, Harbchon is still useful for 5 or 10 mans and on even 1 or 2 fight in the 20-man raids. It is also very easy to play. It only requires 2 macros and being aware of a few buffs and debuffs. But first, let's take a look at the soul build. Alright, so you want 33 points into Harbinger, 41 points into Archon, and 2 points in Elementalist. There's a few things you can change around. You can take 1 point from Magnetic Blade and get improved Blade Rush for a little bit of mobility in combat. This point in Spellbore isn't really necessary either. You can give a bit of mana to your healers, get a bit of toughness or a bit of movement speed. It's really up to you. There's really nothing you can change in Elementalist. Moving on to the rotation. First thing you want to do is buff yourself. You're gonna want your 3 Archon's aura. Then you're gonna want Eldritch Armor. And you're gonna want Lightning Blade for single target and Luminous Weapon for AoE. You can and you should change them during a fight depending on the situation. So, before you enter combat, you ideally want max charge to be able to cast Flaring Power within the first 5 to 15 seconds, depending on what your guilds want. So what you're gonna do is spam cast Illuminate on your target until you're max charge. As you can see, I'm not pulling aggro, and you won't pull aggro on any boss or mobs. So that's a really nice way to get your charge maxed without disturbing your raiders with some endless duels. Then when you enter combat, you want to start with Crumbling Resistance and Ashen Defense. Then you're gonna move on to Piercing Beam, spamming your main macros until you get 2 EG procs, which I'm gonna get to a bit later. Same thing with this one. That will get you your 2 DPS combat buffs, and at this point you're pretty much gonna have everything required of an Archon in the raid. You're gonna have every single buffs up, and Flaring Power is really whenever your guild told you to. Same thing with Lava Field, you just want to coordinate with your Bard so you don't use it at the same time as Orchestra, because those two don't stack. Alright, so once you're done with applying all your buffs and debuffs, you're gonna be moving on to your personal damage rotation. You're gonna start with Blazing Light. Blazing Light is refreshed with Loosen Slash every 15 seconds. If for whatever reason you're not able to use Loosen Slash because the hitbox is weird, or because you're not allowed to use any AoE for whatever reason, you're not going to be using Blazing Light, because Blazing Light is not a slashing attack and it's not going to be proccing your Eldritch Gift, and that's where most of your DPS comes from. So next is your Piercing Beam. Piercing Beam is applied every 29 seconds and gives you a 11% bonus damage to your slashing attack. Patron Rage is not a damage increase at its full cast unless you're stuck at range, but you're still gonna use it for the 0 and 1 second tick, because those are a damage increase, and also they will refresh your auras, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's it. Then you have your 2 remaining macros. This one is your main spam that I've already opened right here. It's simply your biggest slashing attack with a cooldown on top of your one without cooldown. Vengeful Shock will never proc, because that's only if you don't have enough hit, or if you're in PvP, and this spec is not good for PvP and you shouldn't raid without enough hit. But there's no reason not to have it in here for, you know, weird occasion. Then finally you have Cast Not Active Charge Blade. Charge Blade will give you a 20% damage increase to your slashing attack, and it's going to consume 5 charge on each of your slashing attack. So you only want to be careful when you're first when you're first, when every single one of your flaring debuffs are about to fall off, you want to have enough charge to cast it again. So if you're really unlucky and don't have enough charge, which shouldn't happen, you just want to take a few step backs and cast your Vorpal Slash, cast some of the ability in your EG macro. And the final macro is your EG macro. You start with Vorpal Slash, which I'm going to get back to in a second. You have Volcanic Bomb, which is a 5% damage increase for your raid. Earthen Barrage, a 5% crit increase. This is a 15% movement speed, and those two are just damage. So the reason Vorpal Slash is in your EG macro is because of the way Eldritch Armor works. Any ability that's been talented down to become an instant cast will still benefit from the lowered 0.5 GCD, and it won't consume the proc. So when that happens, when Vorpal Slash is up, you're gonna be double tapping your EG macro, and you're gonna have two really quick 0.5 GCD ability. The same things work with your Archon Aura. If you have a EG up, you can cast all three of them in a 0.5 GCD without consuming the proc. And finally, all that's left is your lava field. Your lava field is really great for AoE. You just want to make sure Luminous Weapon is up. That's the last little secret in the spec. Lava field, every tick procs Luminous Weapon. So in a raid, in an AoE pack, it's gonna do some crazy number. You're gonna have a whole bunch of yellow numbers on your screen. It's really nice and really bursty. So you just want to save that. Right, so all that's left is to show you guys how this works in combat. I'm gonna start with AoE on those dummy right here. Just make sure you have luminous weapons on, otherwise your DPS is gonna be significantly lower. And the AoE rotation is very simple. It's a loosen slash, loosen slash, loosen slash, and you're gonna be using a lava field on cooldown. You also want to use 2 EG procs every 30 seconds to make sure your 5% damage and 5% crit are up for your raid. And that's pretty much it. Just more loosen slash. So moving on to single target. I'm actually going to reset my charge to recap everything. Alright, first thing first, buffing yourself. So before starting combat you want enough charge for flaring. Now that I'm full, I'm ready to start combat, so I'm gonna start with applying Crumbling and Ashen, then moving on to trying to proc my EG twice. That's 1, that's 2. Now everything you need to pop is up, so you can move on to just buffing your raid. Oh, and my flaring, oh, I still have my Battle Weary. Oh well. So as you can see, the DPS is really easy. All you need to do is press 2 many times. Make sure your two debuffs never falls off. Just 2 ticks of Patron Rage. And you really want to use those proc as fast as you can. This is what is gonna get you your charge, and it's your biggest hitter too, so just make sure you use them as fast as you can. So that's it, everyone. All the macros will be posted in the description, and if you want to see the rotation in action, I also included a link to one of my parsing video. I will also add links to videos featuring my friend Self playing Harbchon in raids, or even experts as I get them over the next few weeks. So the add-ons I used in these videos are Gadget Outfitter to change my spec, and this jazz that you see right here is Carol Alert. I will be posting download links and also the export code to copy this setup right here. So that's it, everyone. Thank you for watching, and happy hunting.